What would you do if you looked into your baby's cradle and saw a swarm of glowing eyes staring back instead of your child? In the quiet of a Xhosa village, Thandi's scream shattered the night because her infant son had vanished, replaced by something not human. This is not just a story, it's a curse. And it's only just beginning. Thandi's scream shattered the midnight silence of her Xhosa village, her heart latching as she peered into her baby's cradle. Instead of her infant son, Lwazi, a mass of blinking, disembodied eyes stared back, their irises glowing like embers in the dark. They paused, unblinking, tracking her every tremble. Her hands shook as she reached out, but the eyes hissed, a sound like wind through bones, forcing her back. Lwazi was gone, his blanket cold. The air grew heavy, the eyes gasping in her soul. She stumbled outside, the village bathed in moonlight, but the eyes' presence followed, their stare burning into her mind. Her neighbor, old Mozondi, found her sobbing and dragged her to the sangoma's hut. The sangoma, Nomalanga, lit a fire and tossed herbs into the flames, her eyes narrowing. "A witch's curse," she whispered. "Your son is trapped in the realm of watching spirits. Those eyes are their sentinels." Thandi's breath caught, Lwazi, her only child, stolen by magic she didn't understand. Nomalanga's voice hardened. "You must face the witch in a ritual duel, or the spirits will claim his soul." Thandi clutched Lwazi's tiny bead bracelet, her resolve stealing. The eyes watched from the shadows, waiting. Thandi sat in Nomalanga's hut, the air thick with sage and fear. The eyes lingered in her mind, their gaze a weight she couldn't shake. Nomalanga's beads rattled as she spoke. "The witch, Nolwazi, cursed your bloodline long ago. She serves the watching spirits, feeding them souls for power." Thandi's heart sank. Nolwazi, her estranged aunt, banished for dark magic. The eyes were her trap, binding Lwazi to a realm of endless surveillance. Nomalanga handed Thandi a talisman, a bone carved with Xhosa symbols. "This will shield you, but only if your heart is pure. The duel is no game, Nolwazi will twist your fears." Thandi gripped the talisman, her thoughts on Lwazi's soft kiss. She couldn't fail him. Outside, the village slept, but the eyes' whisper slithered through the night, taunting her. She vowed to find Nolwazi, no matter the cost. Morning brought no relief. Thandi walked through the village, the eyes' gaze prickling her skin. Neighbors avoided her, their whispers sharp with fear. "Cursed," they muttered, clutching their own children. The crows scattered lowers nervously, sensing the unnatural. Thandi's mother, Famla, met her at the homestead, her face etched with guilt. Nolwazi's grudge began with our family's betrayal, she admitted. "We shunned her for her rituals." Thandi's anger flared, but Famla's trembling hand stopped her. "Help me save him," Thandi pleaded. Famla nodded, promising to gather herbs for protection. Alone, Thandi felt the eyes multiply, their stares clawing at her courage. She clutched the talisman, whispering Lwazi's name. The witch's realm loomed, and she would face it, even if it meant her soul. Thandi followed Nomalanga's instructions, trekking toward the forest where Nolwazi was last seen. The talisman warmed against her chest, but the eyes' gaze grew heavier, their hisses louder. Trees loomed, their branches twisting like fingers. She stumbled over roots, her mind flashing to Lwazi's tiny fist. The forest hummed with unseen life, or something worse. A rustle stopped her. A shadow darted between trees, too fast to follow. The eyes appeared, floating in the air, their glow mocking her. "You fail," they whispered. Thandi gripped the talisman, shouting Lwazi's name to drown them out. A clearing emerged, Nolwazi's hut decaying at its center. The door creaked open, and the eyes swarmed, daring her to enter. Nolwazi's hut reeked of rot and ash. Thandi stepped inside, the talisman pulsing. The eyes lined the walls, their stares a suffocating force. A figure stirred, Nolwazi, her face gaunt, her smile cruel. "You came for the boy," she rasped, her voice like gravel. He's with the spirits now, watching forever. Thandi's heart pounded, but she stood firm. Nolwazi raised the staff, and the eyes surged, their whispers clawing at Thandi's mind. Join him, Nolwazi taunted, or fight me. Thandi clutched the talisman, it warmed her anchor. She didn't know the ritual, but Lwazi's life depended on her. The eyes blinked in unison, and the duel began. Nolwazi's laughter echoed as the eyes formed a circle around Thandi. The duel is simple, the witch said. Resist the spirit's gaze, and your son lives. Fail, and you both belong to them. Thandi's knees trembled, but Lwazi's face flashed in her mind. The talisman burned, guiding her. She had to outwit Nolwazi's magic. The eyes paused, their whispers weaving lies, you're weak. Lwazi's gone. Thandi focused on the talisman, chanting Xhosa prayers her mother taught her. Nolwazi's staff glowed, summoning shadows that mimicked Lwazi's cries. Thandi's heart ached, but she held firm, knowing the spirit's tricks. The duel's first test was endurance, and she wouldn't break. The eyes' whispers grew louder, each lie sharper. Lwazi hates you, they hissed. Thandi's resolve wavered, her memories of nursing him fading under the assault. The talisman's warmth flickered, but she clutched it, whispering, he's mine. Nolwazi smacked, her staff summoning a vision of Lwazi, pale and trapped in a cage of ice. Thandi lunged, but the vision dissolved, the eyes laughing. Nolwazi's voice cut through, your love weakens you. Thandi shook her head, channeling her fear into defiance. She sang a lullaby, one she'd sung to Lwazi, and the eyes flinched. Her voice was her weapon, and she'd use it to fight. Thandi's lullaby echoed, the eyes dimming slightly. Nolwazi snarled, her staff sparking with dark energy. Sing all you want, she spat. The spirits see your soul. Thandi's voice trembled but held, each note a thread to Lwazi. The talisman glowed brighter, its power tied to her love. The eyes swarmed, their stares burning her skin. Thandi closed her eyes, trusting her heart. Her song grew stronger, weaving memories of Lwazi's giggles. Nolwazi's staff faltered, their eyes hesitating. Thandi felt a spark, Lwazi was near. She sang louder, ready to tear the spirit's realm apart. The hut dissolved, and Thandi stood in a void, the eyes floating like stars. Her song had opened a path to the spirit's realm. The talisman paused, guiding her through the darkness. Lwazi's cries echoed faintly, pulling her forward. The eyes whispered doubts, but her lullaby drowned them out. Nolwazi's voice boomed, you'll never find him. Thandi ignored her, following the talisman's light. A cage appeared, Lwazi inside, his tiny hands reaching. The eyes gathered it, their gaze a war. Thandi's song faltered, she needed more than courage now. Thandi approached the cage, Lwazi's cries piercing her heart. The eyes formed a barrier, their stares paralyzing. The talisman burned, urging her forward. She reached out, but the eyes hissed, their whispers twisting her memories. You failed him, they said. Tears fell, but Thandi gripped the talisman, her love stronger than their lies. Nolwazi appeared, her staff glowing. Give up, or lose yourself. Thandi refused, chanting Lwazi's name. The eyes weakened, and she touched the cage. It paused, alive with magic. She needed to break it, but how? Thandi pressed the talisman to the cage, its glow flaring. The eyes screamed, their light dimming. Nolwazi's staff sparked, countering the talisman's magic. You're nothing, the witch hissed. Thandi's heart raced, but Lwazi's coups fueled her. She pushed harder, the talisman cracking the cage's surface. The eyes swarmed, their whispers a storm. Thandi's strength waned, but she remembered Nomalanga's words, your heart is pure. She focused on Lwazi, her love a shield. The cage splintered, and Nolwazi roared. Thandi was close, but the duel wasn't over. The cage shattered, but Lwazi vanished, the eyes laughing. Nolwazi's voice echoed, a trick, niece. Thandi's heart sank. Lwazi was deeper in the realm. The talisman dimmed, its power strained. The eyes multiplied, their gaze suffocating. Nolwazi appeared, her staff blazing. You join him in torment. Thandi dodged a blast of dark energy, her lullaby her only weapon. The eyes pressed closer, but she sang, her voice cracking. The talisman sparked, revealing a hidden path. She ran, Nolwazi's laughter chasing her. Lwazi was alive, she'd find him. The path led to a vast void, the eyes like a constellation of malice. Thandi's talisman flickered, her energy fading. Lwazi's cries grew louder, guiding her. The eyes whispered her fears, you're alone. She clutched the talisman, its warmth her anchor. Her lullaby resumed, weaker but defiant. Nolwazi's shadow loomed, her staff summoning chains of light. Thandi ducked, the chains grazing her. The eyes tightened their grip, but her song held them back. A faint glow appeared, Lwazi's prison. Thandi ran, her heart screaming his name. Thandi reached a new cage, Lwazi's form clearer. The eyes gathered it, their stares a physical weight. The talisman paused, but Nolwazi's magic countered it. His mine, the witch snarled, her staff summoning a storm of ice. Thandi's knees buckled, but she sang, her voice raw. The talisman flared, weakening the cage. Lwazi's tiny hand moved, and Thandi's heart surged. She pushed the talisman forward, her eyes screaming. Nolwazi's staff struck, but Thandi held firm. The cage cracked, she was almost there. Nolwazi's scream shook the void as the cage splintered. Her staff unleashed a wave of dark energy, knocking Thandi back. The eyes swarmed, their whispers deafening. You die here, they hissed. Thandi clutched the talisman, its light faint. Lwazi's cries anchored her, her love stronger than pain. She stood, singing through tears. The talisman burned, shattering the cage. Lwazi appeared, but Nolwazi lunged, her staff aimed at him. Thandi dove, shielding her son. The eyes roared, and the duel escalated. Thandi cradled Lwazi, the talisman blazing between them. Nolwazi's staff struck, but the talisman absorbed the blow, its light blinding. The eyes recoiled, their whispers silenced. Thandi's lullaby surged, her voice a weapon. Nolwazi staggered, her magic faltering. You can't win, she spat. Thandi held Lwazi tighter, his warmth real. The talisman pulsed, its power tied to her heart. She sang louder, the eyes dissolving. Nolwazi's staff cracked, but the witch's eyes gleamed. The final test was coming. The void shifted, the eyes forming a tribunal. A voice boomed, choose, mother. Your soul or his. Thandi froze, Lwazi in her arms. Nolwazi smacked, her staff glowing. They'll take you both, she taunted. The talisman warmed, urging Thandi to trust it. She kissed Lwazi's forehead, singing softly. Take me, she whispered. The eyes surged, but the talisman flared, repelling them. Nolwazi screamed as the spirits turned on her. Thandi's sacrifice had shifted the duel's tide. Nolwazi's staff shattered, the eyes consuming her. Her screams echoed as the spirits dragged her into darkness. Thandi held Lwazi, the talisman dimming. The void trembled, the eyes vanishing. A soft light enveloped them, the realm collapsing. Thandi's lullaby faded, her strength spent. She woke in the forest, Lwazi coin in her arms. The talisman was cold, its power gone. Nolwazi was defeated, but the village waited. Thandi stood, her son safe, but the eyes' memory lingered. Thandi stumbled into the village, Lwazi clutched tight. Neighbors gasped, their fear replaced by awe. Fomla ran to her, tears streaming. You did it, she whispered. Thandi nodded, too tired to speak. The sangoma's hut glowed in the distance, Nomalanga waiting. The eyes were gone, but their weight haunted Thandi. She handed Lwazi to Fomla, needing rest. Nomalanga's voice called her. "The spirits are pleased," she said. "But Nolwazi's curse may linger." Nomalanga's heart was warm, herbs burning. Thandi sat, Lwazi asleep. "The curse is broken," Nomalanga said, "but the spirits watch." She handed Thandi a new talisman, smaller but heavy. "Wear it always." Thandi nodded, the eyes memory sharp. She'd never forget their stare. The village celebrated, but Thandi felt distant. Lwazi's smile anchored her, yet the duel's cost lingered. She thanked Nomalanga, vowing to protect her son. The night was quiet, but she watched the cradle. Days passed, the village embracing Thandi. Children played near her homestead, their laughter easing her heart. Lwazi grew stronger, his eyes bright. Fomla helped, her guilt fading. Thandi wore the new talisman, its weight a reminder. The eyes hadn't returned, but she stayed vigilant. At night, she sang to Lwazi, her voice softer now. The village elders praised her courage, but Thandi felt the spirit's gaze. She'd won, but the horror wasn't gone. Thandi woke to a faint hiss, her heart racing. The cradle was empty, but Lwazi slept beside her. The talisman warmed, warning her. She lit a candle, scanning the room. A single eye blinked in the corner, then vanished. Nolwazi was gone, but her magic lingered. She clutched Lwazi, whispering prayers. The talisman glowed, calming her. Morning came, the eyes were gone. Thandi knew the spirits weren't done. She'd face them again, for Lwazi. Thandi returned to Nomalanga, Lwazi in her arms. "An eye," she whispered. Nomalanga's face darkened. "The spirits test you," she said, tossing bones. "Your strength broke Nolwazi, but her pact remains." She gave Thandi a pouch of herbs. "Burn these nightly." Thandi nodded, fear knowing. Lwazi could, unaware. She thanked Nomalanga, the talisman heavy. The spirits watched, but she'd protect her son. The village felt smaller, the shadows deeper. Thandi burned the herbs, their smoke curling around the homestead. Lwazi slept, the talisman by his side. She watched the cradle, the eyes memory vivid. The village slept, but Thandi stayed awake, her lullaby soft. The talisman glowed faintly, guarding them. A shadow moved outside, but the herbs held. Thandi's heart steadied, she was ready. The spirits could test her, but Lwazi was hers. She'd fight until her last breath. Whispers spread, eyes seen in the craw, shadows in the fields. Neighbors avoided Thandi, fearing returning. Fomla stayed close, her strength a comfort. "We'll face this," she said. Thandi nodded, Lwazi smiled her anchor. The talisman warmed, sensing danger. At dusk, a child screamed, an eye in her window. Thandi burned more herbs, the village gathering. The spirits were bold, but Thandi was their target. She'd end this. The elders met Thandi at the center. "The spirits haunt us," they said. Nomalanga joined, her bones rattling. "A cleansing ritual," she proposed. Thandi agreed, Lwazi in her lap. The talisman paused, ready. The village prepared, fear mixing with hope. Thandi felt the eyes gaze, distant but real. She sang to Lwazi, her voice steady. The ritual would test her again, but she'd face it. The spirits wouldn't win. The village gathered at midnight, a bonfire roaring. Nomalanga chanted, Thandi holding Lwazi. The talisman blazed, the herb smoke thick. Eyes appeared, circling the fire. Villagers gasped, but Thandi sang, her lullaby defiant. The eyes hissed, weakening. Nomalanga tossed bones into the flames, their crack silencing the eyes. Thandi felt lighter, Lwazi giggling. The spirits retreated, but Thandi knew they'd return. She was ready. Peace settled, the eyes gone. Lwazi toddled, the village alive again. Thandi smiled, but the talisman stayed warm. Formula helped with chores, their bonds stronger. Neighbors thanked Thandi, their fear fading. She watched Lwazi, her heart full. At night, she checked the cradle, the herbs burning. The spirits were silent, but Thandi's vigil was held. She sang to Lwazi, her voice a shield. The horror lingered, but so did her love. Thandi dreamed of eyes, their stares trapping her. Lwazi cried, unreachable. She woke, the talisman hot. Lwazi slept, safe. She burned herbs, her heart racing. The dream felt real, the spirit's threat clear. Nomalanga's words echoed, they test you. She held Lwazi, whispering prayers. The talisman cooled, but Thandi stayed awake. The spirits were planning something. She'd face them, her love unyielding. The village slept, unaware. Thandi visited Nomalanga, the dream haunting her. The spirits are restless, Nomalanga said, her bones scattered. They want your strength? She gave Thandi a new chant, its words ancient. Sing it when they come. Thandi memorized it, Lwazi coin. The talisman warmed, the air heavy. Thandi felt the eyes, hidden but near. She thanked Nomalanga, ready for the next test. Lwazi's safety was a fight. At dusk, a shadow lingered by the homestead. Thandi burned herbs, the talisman glowing. Lwazi slept, unaware. The shadow hissed, an eye blinking within it. Thandi chanted Nomalanga's words, the shadow retreating. The eye vanished, but its stare lingered. She held Lwazi, her voice steady. The spirits were bolder, testing her resolve. The talisman was her shield, her love her sword. She'd protect her son, no matter what. Neighbors rallied, inspired by Thandi. They burned herbs, sang prayers. Formula led, her guilt gone. Thandi smiled, Lwazi playing. The talisman paused, the eyes weaker. The village was a fortress, its unity Thandi's strength. She felt Nolwazi's curse fading. At night, she sang the new chant, Lwazi giggling. The spirits watched, but Thandi was ready. The horror was hers to conquer, her love eternal. One eye appeared, larger, its stare piercing. Thandi chanted, the talisman blazing. Lwazi slept, the herb smoke thick. The eye whispered, we return. Thandi's voice held, the eye dissolving. The talisman cooled, the air clear. She'd won again. She kissed Lwazi, her heart steady. The spirits were weakening, but Thandi stayed vigilant. The village slept, safe. Her love was her power, unyielding. Nomalanga blessed Thandi, her beats rattling. The spirits fear you, she said. Your heart broke their hold. She gave Thandi a final talisman, its carvings deep. Keep it close. Thandi nodded, Lwazi in her arms. The village felt lighter, the curse fading. She sang to Lwazi, the chant now a habit. The eyes were gone, but Thandi watched. Her love had won, but the horror's shadow remained. The village celebrated, Lwazi the center. Children danced, and the elders sang. Thandi smiled, the talisman cool. Formula hugged her, tears falling. You saved us, she said. Thandi shook her head, Lwazi saved her. The spirits were silent, the curse broken. At night, she checked the cradle, the herbs unneeded. Her lullaby was soft, Lwazi asleep. The horror was past, but Thandi's strength endured. Thandi sat by the crawl, Lwazi toddling. The talisman hung around her neck, a reminder. The village thrived, the eyes forgotten. Formula joined her, their laughter easy. Thandi felt whole, Lwazi giggled at her world. The spirits had lost. She sang softly, the chant unnecessary. The horror was a memory, her love for the victor. Thandi watched the stars, Lwazi safe. She was free. Thandi kept the cradle, its wood polished. Lwazi slept in her bed, the talisman nearby. She touched the cradle, the eyes stir a faint echo. The village honored her, but Thandi wanted peace. Her love had conquered, but the fight lingered. At night, she whispered to Lwazi, her voice calm. The spirits were gone, the talisman cold. Thandi's heart was a shield, forever. Nomalanga called Thandi, her heart dim. I'm leaving, she said. You're the village's strength now. Thandi protested, but Nomalanga smiled. Your heart is enough. She gave Thandi her beads, their weight heavy. Lwazi could, unaware. Thandi thanked her, the talisman warm. Nomalanga left at dawn, the village quiet. Thandi sang to Lwazi, ready to lead. The horror was hers to bury. Thandi took Nomalanga's role, her beads a guide. Villagers sought her, their fears small. Her primitives and rituals, ensuring Lwazi's safety. The talisman remained, its power subtle. The eyes were a story now, Thandi's courage legend. She sang to Lwazi, her voice strong. The spirits were silent, the village hers. Thandi embraced her role, the horror a distant memory. Lwazi ran through the village, Thandi watching. The talisman was a necklace now, its carvings faded. The village thrived, its unity Thandi's legacy. Formula aged, her pride clear. Thandi felt the spirit's absence, their cause gone. She sang at dusk, and Lwazi joined. The cradle stood, a symbol of her fight. Thandi's love had won, the horror vanquished. She was home. Thandi showed Lwazi the cradle, now a keepsake. This saved you, she said. He touched it, unafraid. The talisman hung in her heart, its power spent. The village honored her, children listening to her tale. The eyes were a myth now. She sang to Lwazi, her voice eternal. The spirits had lost, her love enduring. Thandi's heart was light, the horror gone. Thandi taught Lwazi Xhosa songs, her beads rattling. The village called her sangoma, her wisdom trusted. The talisman rested, its role done. Formula smiled, her daughter a hero. Thandi felt Nolwazi's curse as a distant shadow, powerless. She watched Lwazi play, her heart full. The eyes were forgotten, her love the victor. Thandi's vigil ended, her peace won. Lwazi grew, his laughter bright. Thandi led rituals, her beads a comfort. The village forgot the eyes, Thandi's tale was enough. The talisman stayed, a relic. Formula rested, her role complete. Thandi was the village's heart, her love its strength. She sang at night, Lwazi listening. The horror was past, her victory clear. Thandi embraced her life, the spirit silent. Thandi stored the cradle, its purpose served. Lwazi asked about it, his eyes curious. It's our story, she said. The talisman hung, a guardian no more. The village thrived, Thandi's wisdom its guide. The eyes were gone, her love eternal. She sang to Lwazi, her voice soft. The horror was a memory, her heart free. Thandi lived for him always. Thandi's heart became a sanctuary, villagers seeking her. Lwazi helped, his smile her joy. The talisman rested, its carvings faint. Formula visited, her pride endless. Thandi felt the spirit's absence, her victory complete. The eyes were legendary. She sang at dawn, and Lwazi joined. The horror was gone, her love the light. Thandi was whole, her role clear. The village sang Thandi's lullaby, Lwazi leading. Her beats shone, her wisdom deep. The talisman was a keepsake, its power legend. Formula watched, her heart full. Thandi felt Nolwazi's curse dissolve, the spirit silent. The eyes were a myth. She held Lwazi, her voice strong. The horror was past, her love eternal. Thandi's legacy was the village's heart. Lwazi danced, Thandi laughing. her beads rattled, her row sacred. The talisman hung, a memory. The village honored her, its fear gone. Fomla rested, her daughter enough. Thandi felt peace, the spirits defeated. The eyes were stories. She sang to Lwazi, her heart light. The horror was gone, her love forever. Thandi lived for him, her victory won. Thandi told Lwazi the cradle's story, his eyes wide. "You fought for me," he said. She nodded, the talisman nearby. The village listened, her tale sacred. Fomla smiled, her role done. Thandi felt the spirit's absence, her heart free. She sang at night, Lwazi safe. The horror was past, her love the victor. Thandi's legacy was eternal, her son her world. Thandi's heart glowed, her beads a guide. Lwazi learned her chants, his voice clear. The talisman rested, its story told. The village thrived, Thandi its heart. Fomla aged, her pride endless. The eyes were forgotten, Thandi's love was enough. She sang to Lwazi, her soul calm. The horror was gone, her victory eternal. Thandi was home, her fight over. Thandi watched Lwazi run, the village alive. Her beads shone, her heart full. The talisman hung, a relic of courage. Fomla joined her, their bond eternal. Thandi felt no spirits, only love. The eyes were myth, her tale legend. She sang to Lwazi, her voice forever. The horror was past, her love the light. Thandi was his mother, always. Thandi jolted awake, a hiss slithering through her heart like a snake in the dark. Her hand flew to the talisman, now a simple necklace, its warmth faint but alive. Lwazi slept beside her, his chest rising softly, yet the cradle in the corner seemed to hum, its wood etched with memories of ice. The hiss faded, but her pulse raced, something was stirring. She lit a candle, shadows dancing on the walls. The village slept under a starless sky, but the air felt thick, as if the spirits washed. Thandi whispered a chant, the one Nomalanga taught her, and the talisman paused. No eyes appeared, but the hiss lingered in her mind, a warning. She checked Lwazi, his tiny hand clutching her finger. The curse was broken, yet Nolwazi's magic clung like damp earth. Thandi resolved to visit the elders at dawn, she needed answers. The spirits weren't done, and neither was she. The elders' crawl buzzed with tension as Thandi spoke of the hiss. Their faces, lined with age, tightened. "The spirits are gone," Elder Mackay's insisted, his staff tapping the ground. But Thandi's talisman warmed, contradicting him. Lwazi played nearby, oblivious, his laughter a stark contrast to the elders' frowns. She felt their doubt, heavy as the eyes stare. Elder Noble, the oldest, squinted at Thandi. Nolwazi's pact was deep. Perhaps her death woke something older. The words chilled Thandi, her mind flashing to the void where she'd fought. She clutched Lwazi's hand, vowing to protect him. Noble offered a ritual to cleanse the village again, but Thandi sensed it wouldn't be enough. The hiss was personal, aimed at her. That night, she burned Nomalanga's herbs, the talisman glowing. The spirits were testing her, and she'd face them, for Lwazi. Thandi woke to the cradle trembling, its wood creaking as if alive. Lwazi stirred, whimpering, and she pulled him close, her heart hammering. The talisman burned against her skin, its carvings glowing faintly. No eyes appeared, but the air shimmered, heavy with unseen watchers. She sang softly, her lullaby steadying them both, but the cradle's pulse grew louder. She touched the cradle, its surface warm, almost breathing. Memories of the eyes flooded back, their hisses, their lies. The talisman flared, and the pulse stopped, but Thandi's fear lingered. She carried Lwazi to Fomla's hut, needing her mother's wisdom. Fomla's eyes widened at the tale. "The cradle holds Nolwazi's curse," she whispered. "Destroy it." Thandi hesitated, Lwazi's birth was tied to it. But the spirits' return demanded action. She'd faced the cradle's power, whatever it hid. Thandi built a fire behind her hut, the cradle at its edge. Lwazi slept in Formula's arms, the village dark. The talisman paused as she tossed herbs into the flames, their smoke calling like spirits. She pushed the cradle forward, but it resisted, its wood groaning. A faint eye blinked within the grain, then vanished, chilling her. She chanted Nomalanga's words, the talisman blazing. The fire roared, but the cradle stood untouched, its paws mocking her. Formula whispered, "Your heart must decide." Thandi's love for Lwazi clashed with her fear of the cradle's magic. She thrust the talisman into the flames, its light merging with the fire. The cradle screamed, a sound like Nolwazi's laugh, then burned. Ashes rose, and Thandi felt lighter, but the hiss returned, faint but real. The spirits watched, and she was ready. Dawn brought whispers of unease, cattle lowered, crops wilted. Thandi walked the village, Lwazi on her hip, the talisman cool. Neighbors spoke of shadows in their dreams, eyes in the mist. The cradle's destruction hadn't stopped the spirits, it had angered them. Thandi's resolve hardened, she'd burned their anchor, but they sought another. At the kraal, Elder Nobu met her, her face grave. "The spirits want a new vessel," she said. "Your strength draws them." Thandi's stomach twisted, Lwazi was their target. She sang to him, her voice a shield, but the talisman warmed, sensing danger. The village needed her, but Lwazi was her world. She vowed to face the spirits again, her chance ready. The hiss grew louder, and Thandi knew the next fight was near. Lwazi woke screaming, his small hands clawing the air. Thandi held him, her lullaby faltering as his eyes widened, seeing something she couldn't. "Eyes," he whispered, his voice trembling. The talisman burned, confirming her fear, the spirits had touched him. Her heart shattered, but she stayed strong, rocking him until he slept. Formula joined her, her face pale. "He's too young," she said, but Thandi knew the spirits cared little for age. She burned herbs, the talisman glowing. Lwazi's vision was a warning, a sign the spirits sought his soul again. Thandi chanted, her voice fierce, vowing to shield him. The village felt distant, its fears secondary. She'd enter the spirit's realm if needed, her love a blade. The hiss circled, and Thandi braced for war. Thandi dreamed of Nomalanga, her beats rattling in a void. "The spirits fear your heart," the sangoma said, her voice an echo. "But they'll use Lwazi to break it." Thandi woke, the talisman hot, Lwazi asleep. The dream was a guide, but its warning shook her. She needed Nomalanga's strength. She visited the sangoma's old hut, now hers, its herbs and bones untouched. She lit a fire, chanting Nomalanga's words. The talisman flared, and a shadow moved, Nomalanga's spirit, faint but real. "Trust your love," it whispered. Thandi nodded, her resolve firm. The spirits wanted Lwazi, but she'd fight. The hiss grew, and an eye blinked in the hot corner, daring her. She sang, and it vanished, but the battle loomed. Thandi called the village, her beads gleaming. "The spirits return," she said, Lwazi at her side. Neighbors nodded, their fear tempered by trust. Elder Nobu led a chant, the kraal alive with voices. The talisman paused, uniting them. Thandi felt their strength, her heart swelling. She burned herbs, the smoke a barrier. Lwazi clung to her, his eyes clear. The village sang her lullaby, their unity a weapon. The hiss weakened, but eyes flickered in the shadows, testing. Thandi chanted, the talisman blazing. The spirits retreated, but she knew they'd strike again. Her love for Lwazi was her shield, the village and her army. She'd face the darkness, unyielding. Eyes appeared at midnight, circling Thandi's hut. Lwazi whimpered, and she held him, the talisman burning. The eyes hissed, their stares heavy, but her chant held them back. She burned herbs, the smoke choking the air. The village slept, unaware, but Thandi fought alone. She sang, her voice raw, Lwazi coming. The talisman flared, and the eyes dimmed, but one lingered, larger, its gaze piercing. "You fail," it whispered. Thandi's heart wavered, but Lwazi's touch steadied her. She chanted louder, the eyes dissolving. The night stilled, but the spirit's threat grew. Thandi clutched Lwazi, ready for their next move. Her love was her power, eternal. Thandi stood at dawn, Lwazi in her arms, the talisman cool. The village buzzed, neighbors praying. She felt the spirit's gaze, faint but real. Formula joined her eyes fierce. "You're enough," she said. Thandi nodded, her vow clear, Lwazi would live, free of the curse. She chanted Nomalanga's words, the beats rattling. The talisman warmed, sensing her resolve. The eyes hadn't returned, but their hiss lingered. Thandi sang to Lwazi, her voice a promise. The spirits could test her, but she'd win. The village was her home, Lwazi her heart. She'd face the darkness, forever his mother. These additional chapters extend the story, maintaining the African horror atmosphere, Xhosa cultural elements, and Thandi's emotional journey. The narrative deepens the supernatural threat, introduces Lwazi's growing role, and reinforces Thandi's strength as a mother and sangoma. If you want more chapters, specific plot directions, e.g., a final confrontation, Lwazi's powers, or Nolwazi's return, or adjustments, e.g., longer chapters, new characters, please let me know.